Today we're talking security in the sky with LandSkyAI. Hi, this is Jillian Angeline, host of the Props Clear podcast, where we're talking all about drones and about improving public perception surrounding the unmanned aircraft industry. Now, this show is for informational, educational, and entertainment purposes only, so none of this constitutes legal advice. If you've been enjoying the content on Props Clear, be sure to click subscribe and leave a comment. Now fasten your seatbelts and let's get started. Today's guest is Jake Shild. He's the CEO of LandSkyAI. Jake, thank you so much for talking with me about LandSkyAI as the CEO. Just wanted to first of all talk with you about how it works and how you integrate drones into the security systems that you're offering.
Yeah, and thanks for having me on, Jillian. Really excited to do this. And as you mentioned, CEO of LandSkyAI. So we're really focused on the safety and security side with drones, specifically more with the automated side of drones. So what we're looking at is we really focus on these drone in a box systems. And what we're looking at there, as opposed to where we think of normal drones, where, with the remote control and they're flying to different locations where we manually control it and use it a lot of times for photographs, mapping, things such as that. With these drone in a box systems, a lot of the power is in the fact that they have this box. So a box makes it sound much more simple, but it's kind of like a mini hanger that opens and closes. And the really cool part of that is a lot of these systems, they'll have these charging rings in there, contact pads in there. So now you actually have it where the drone's actually automatically charging. So right there is a lot of where the power of the automation comes in, where instead of someone having to run up and replace a battery or go plug in a new battery, plug in the system to charge, you're actually able to have it on its own, landing in a box, ready to charge. And then we usually are having it on three main modes of operation, doing patrol routes, doing alarm response, say being integrated with, and this is going into integrating it on the security side where we may integrate it with, say, an access control alarm on site. Maybe there's an exterior radar system or even a door forced open alarm somewhere in the property. We could actually integrate that, have the drone fly to that zone. We could even
Wow.
have the video streaming back to their video management system. And then we're able to manually control them. So when we're talking about drones and security, we're really focused on the automation of the systems and how we could actually get it so that almost like a virtual guard scenario where they could either augment the ability of the guards on site or they could even help say if some shifts can't be covered, maybe it's night shifts, or you're just looking to make sure that your guards can have complete situational awareness.
And then talk with me about the remote operations center part of it. So what happens is, a call is made to go patrol an area, or like it says on this form that I got at the New York Build Expo, it says from alert to flight in less than 5 seconds, deployable up to 250 times per day. So those 250 times, is there someone that's in a remote operations center far away from the site literally clicking a button and setting the drone off 250 times, or is it being on a schedule, you know, go out at this time?
Yeah. So it'd typically be on a schedule or manual still. It goes both ways. To be honest, when we do that, the marketing, it is accurate that it could do 250 flights every 2 minutes. And then the idea is though that we really wouldn't do that. We'd still typically, when we are operating the systems, it'd be more regular patrol routes. Like we do a 15-minute patrol of a campus. Maybe it's every couple hours. Maybe it's by the hour. So that was more like that is just showing off the ability of the system. We don't have it where we do anything like that. Usually it is just like by the hour. Maybe someone wants patrol or maybe no patrols and it's integrated into an alarm. So then our remote pilots are there and we could see it actually respond to an alarm that's happening at the time. And again, it could be manual where we send it out just
Yeah.
on us communicating back and forth with an end user, or we can have it where, again, it's more scheduled, maybe yeah, every few hours, something similar to that. Just because someone usually would not need it to be, constantly in
Mhm.
the air. A lot of times it's just similar to right now how you'd have patrol being done, just being able to have it do these more regular routes, and then even
Mhm.
randomizing it sometimes.
Someone operates it remotely, is flying that drone, doing takeoff, doing landing into the box and everything.
Yes. So that's the concept and the beauty of the package for automation. Well, usually work with then the end user on making sure there is a visual observer on the property. So
Mhm.
we were able to go down at that route, working with their team, and then at the same time, for any of them, we'd be working with our manufacturer. We'll have a very good manufacturing partner, the one we are working with on the flyer you're showing, and then they
Mhm.
even are able to help us for getting the actual waivers for later in the process. But a lot of times we'd start by working with a visual observer that's on the staff, and then
Mhm.
actually then progressing to the next stage as time goes on.
My goal for the show is about improving public perception. What do you say to
Mhm.
people who may be concerned about, a drone doing surveillance on a property where homes may be nearby, or people may be walking back and forth in that area? Are there signs that go up saying that there's, surveillance going on in this area? Because it's slightly different than like an ADT security system, right?
Yeah, yeah. So then, how I phrase it a lot of times is starting back to the security system side of the operation. I do compare it to if you go on any of these, a corporate campus, even you go to a doctor's office, anything like that, or
Hmm.
someone who owns a property, you are on camera already just through a security surveillance system. So my original background, security integration. I mean, that's what we would do in a bunch of commercial buildings, whether it's skyscraper in Manhattan or even a campus out in New Jersey.
Hmm.
The second you step on there or you're near the property you're on it, you were on camera regardless anyway. So realistically, it's not changing much. But I will say for maybe, if you just had a house nearby, that is a different scenario. And that's where we actually have on some of the systems with our manufacturers where we can have the recorded video and the snapshots actually censoring what's say not in the geo fence of the property. So then we
Oh,
could
wow.
have it set up where you have the geo fence in the perimeter of the property, and anything beyond that, we don't want the video to be recorded or it'll be recorded, but it's all censored out. Like it looks like a big blur, and you can't actually identify anything that's in that area. Then, and we would say, again, we tell a lot of companies we're trying to work with because they will bring up privacy, and I just remind
Yeah.
them it's very similar to if you already have a CCTV camera. It's much more
Hmm.
advanced than you're doing a patrol, but if you're just looking at it from a camera aspect, you're already recording people when they come on your site anyway, so it's pretty much the same exact thing.
And then what about you talked about how this would augment security guard, teams who may not be
Mhm.
available at night or something like that. That would be a huge help. And I think the other question is this going to take away the jobs of security guards? But you were talking about this remote operations center. There's so many other jobs that this creates while you're also augmenting the work or the needs for security officers, correct?
Exactly. That's how we look at it. Just AI and robotics in general. I do look at it like that. I see it where I know our biggest hiring needs in the future are going to be for remote operators and skilled technicians that are able
Hmm.
to do work on the system. So that could be already for a lot of these companies, even in the industry, where a lot of times that people just think of software engineers or even the ones actually building out some of the AI programs, but you will need a lot of tech. You're going to need a lot of technicians, and the industry will need a lot of operators as well. And then, of course, you have sales, all the other related staff. But then, even as it relates directly to guards, it is one of the industries struggling the most. When I've talked to a lot of guard
Hmm.
companies or done presentations even for end users, a lot of them are struggling to
Yeah.
actually fill all the roles, especially because the shifts are tough. It's a demanding job, especially if you're doing these overnight ones. And we see it as even helping protect some of the on-site guards a decent amount as well, because we actually, like in New York, other locations, at least I know, a lot of
Hmm.
sites I know about, in especially Manhattan, other locations, you have it where due to liability, the guards usually aren't supposed to touch anyone anyway. They're not actually supposed to put their hands on anyone or aren't allowed to really, fully do their job or stop someone. So then you can run into a situation where the guard's pretty much going in blind and then they need to ask someone to stop, but then still not really being allowed to take a first action there. So we see it as now instead of risking a guard to go out first to an alert, you could have this drone. They could be feeding video back so the guard can maybe know right away, maybe I could contact authorities,
Hmm.
or I could just go out there and maybe it's just kids and I could walk out there and know that I need to just ask them to leave. Or at
Hmm.
least, I always say it's much better to risk a drone or a robot to get hit by something instead of a person.
Absolutely, I agree. Now talk with me about the creation of the name LandSky AI. I love the name. I think that was brilliant of whoever created that name. Tell me about the origins of that.
Yeah, so I actually owe that to my sister when I was originally, and you're just thinking like, oh, I'm really gonna do this with the company and
Yeah.
throwing ideas out there. I mean, I can be creative. I'm not the creative one for sure in my family or even for the business completely. So actually, that where it came from was the idea of just, and this was even before the AI bubble, adding the AI name. So that was not like we added it very late on, but the land sky AI part, the land was just us thinking we want to be able to cover, say, with ground based systems.
Hmm.
Sky was basically talking about aerial drones and covering the skies at that point. And then the AI component was talking about how we could integrate these in to be automated, talking about video analytics actually working off, maybe it's detecting a person after hours or
Hmm.
vehicle after hours. So we just wanted to have the name that fully encompassed what we could provide, just because as we continue to grow, we do want to become seen as experts or someone that a customer can rely on for really all their, say, robotic automation needs.
I ask a lot of my guests this about their interest in drones. How did you come about with your interest in drones? How did how did how did you find that?
So this goes back to the integrator side, and it lets me actually play into the founding of the company a bit. A lot of times, this is how I actually start off with our problem statement and how we got involved in it. So a few years ago was actually the first time I ran into a drone in a box company. Actually, company Easy Aerial ran into them a few years ago because they were just based in the Brooklyn Navy Yard, and
Mhm.
that was when we'd actually mutual contact had set us up, and this was when we are still early on, just learning about new technology in the
Mhm.
security industry. And we went out there and we saw this drone in a box system, and we thought it was the coolest thing ever. And to that point, I hadn't really been on my own, even flying drones or really taking a part in the consumer side as much. And right away when we saw that drone in a box system, and at the same time had actually ran into these drone systems, drone detection systems,
Mhm.
we found it super interesting. We thought, especially for drone and box, we were like, oh, this is perfect. This will be an easy resell, just like other security technology, and we'll be able to get this out there easily, which was very quickly not the case. It was, a lot of problems. It was first, it was, big capital expense. No one wanted to put all that budget in there if they weren't sure they're going to always keep the latest technology.
That's true. Yeah.
Kind of going into the training, who was going to be trained, especially say if it was some of the guards, some operations, there's very high turnover, and then you're needing to train and get certified new pilots all the time. How are you going to maintain it? Just keeping up with the latest tech, and it was a long list of issues that really prevented them from automation. So that was actually where the idea of where the founding of the company came from about year and a half ago, was looking at all these problems, and we are like,
Mhm.
if we could provide a white glove service or turnkey package that actually just takes all the pressure off the end user to make the adoption possible, that
Mhm.
it'd be something that'd be attractive to them on the market, which we have started to see a lot of traction around that. But that was actually, for so long story short, it was when I first ran into that drone in a box system, and kind of led to the whole, got the ball rolling on even the founding of the company. But after that was when we had even gotten a personal DJI to fly around and even see how it works with drone detection devices. And then even off of that, just testing out, say, different ones they have, Skydio, just testing out these
Yeah.
different drones. And everyone knows it's fun even once you're able to take it home after and not just use it for business purposes.
Yeah, that's true. Now talk with me about the experience of the drone in the box. Are you using the same system that you first saw, or did you pick a different system?
So we work with multiple manufacturers. We don't usually put that one out there for, that one's probably, we see that one's better suited for a lot of heavy industrial or
Mhm.
military government type use cases. So
Okay.
most of what we've been going after is more non-government related work, commercial, just more so where our, partially where our connections are out in the market, and then also where we see the demand for the type of package that we're putting out there has
Mhm.
been mainly related to you could say, I guess, government if it was talking about maybe like education or some, but most of what we're focused on is commercial properties, manufacturing, distribution, logistics, really things like that. We haven't done too much with government, which is why we don't use that first system as much. But there's yeah, no. So the one we mainly use in our package now that you're able to see, that's
Mhm.
the one we usually lead with at this point.
I just think it's amazing that despite all those problems that you just mentioned earlier, you're still moving forward. I saw you all at the booth at, New York Build Expo. You're getting your name out there. You've overcome a lot of those challenges. Some people would have seen all those challenges and gone, "Ugh, this is not worth it."
Mhm.
So you really persevered. So I think that really is a testament to you and your team. And I think that's great advice for anyone who's thinking of starting something new.
Yeah, yeah, and we saw it as because we were taking those problems I learned from the integration side, and that was, the idea of our company was just let's just create that turnkey package, so then the end user doesn't need to worry about all these problems anymore. We were just looking at how could we eliminate all these hurdles to automation.
What kind of feedback are you getting from your clients? And I assume your clients are in the tri state area?
So actually, a bit all over, kind of. I think a lot of it has to relates more to the type of environments we're
Mhm.
going after. Because I mean, obviously Manhattan and a lot of these locations, there is different permitting.
Yeah.
There's still nothing really like it's always been an interesting one when people compare the FAA in New York City versus the you know what the city can actually do, how they can actually go after you, because a lot of times they actually can't. But really still, it's a much better drone market anyway once you are out of a lot of these urban areas, especially the campuses we're looking at. So
Yeah.
most of it is actually some close to the tri-state area, but most of it, especially the demand we're seeing, is kind of spread out throughout the country.
What's something that you're focusing on for the future? Future goals, future clients, future technology. How are you thinking ahead and moving ahead?
Yeah, so our main technology focuses, I'll go down that way with it, is one side we're looking at how we could get the best kind of communication system set up with our clients that we do have and would have,
Mhm.
setting it up where we can actually make sure that they're able to view all the video easily, communicate with us on the same page, and then even be able to see some of the data and alerts reporting all in the same portal. So that's one thing we've been making solid progress on. And
That would be
yeah,
awesome though, because
oh
then
yeah,
then that it's a proof of performance almost.
hmm
If they're able
yeah.
to see that, then they see that it's working.
Exactly. That's how we look at it. That everyone loves data these days. So then just seeing as much, showing as much as we can, while also being able to communicate on a same page, as opposed to us having to, whether it's a lot of times right now it's either through SMS, phone calls, or even stuff like Slack. So then that's part of the reason we want to go down that route. And then the other one is integrate. We've already been working with a lot of third parties on integrating in different forms of video analytics, but we're always looking at how we could even take advantage of the APIs from companies such as Anthropic and Open AI. Just
Mhm.
seeing how we could actually kind of make sure that we even have our pre-built or custom analytic pages in there, so that we're not always necessarily relying on third parties, but just seeing how far we can actually go with some of the different images and video we're getting from these drone systems.
What has surprised you in this process of starting this business and getting everything underway? Any surprises for you?
Oh yeah, there's always a million surprises that it's hard to pick out anything specifically. On the positive side, I think especially this year, it's been very refreshing and nice to see. I'm surprised at how many different people are interested, or actually how much inbound demand there is right now, or just general interest in learning about the technology. That's
Mhm.
been really cool to see. I will say, when we were first starting out,
Mhm.
you'd be surprised still at how little knowledge there still is about drones and robotic systems and understanding
Thus
it.
this show.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a good thing you're doing it
The
because
goal.
there's definitely not yeah, no, it really is a good thing you're doing it, and good thing you're doing a great job with it, because
Thank you.
it's definitely, that was like a lot of the first year, and even into now is almost like we call it like an evangelizing period, where we're having to educate at the same time as try and motivate the market to get behind it. And that was interesting to see still, for how many NFL games you watch that get delayed with the drone flying in, or seeing
Yeah.
stuff going on overseas in war with even consumer drones, where it was surprising to see. Now I think that started to change a bit, now that it's
Yep.
more and more on the news, but it is surprising to see still, like how little knowledge there was. And it's not their fault, it's just a matter of probably what they're able to see and the materials available to them, because not everyone wants to have to go online and do a course and learn things such as
Hmm.
that. A lot of people just want to look stuff up quick and learn quickly. So that was a surprising one to see. And then also, I think it's been surprising to see how attractive, which it is how we operate our model, but more of that recurring type model, that as a service, where they know they don't need to necessarily be tied into, say, a capital expense on technology for a long time. I will say is also surprising to see. So so the ability and the progress some manufacturers have made with how amazing some of the technology is now and automated it is, to the other side now, where I think it's such a fragmented market, where it's been very surprising to see some groups you think have the perfect technology, and then you test it and maybe it's not actually so perfect
Hmm.
or able to be operated remotely, and then other ones that you may have barely heard of that end up having very high functioning technology. So it's been interesting to see, kind of exploring the fragmented market and just
Yeah.
understanding all the different technology out there.
Yeah, I think the hardest part is introducing people to drones, period.
Hmm.
Once you get someone interested in the concept of, hey, like we can fly something around your property
Yeah.
and make sure that, nothing crazy is happening. If you're gone, you can check it on your phone.
Hmm.
That's huge. That
Yeah.
I mean, I think that gives a lot of peace of mind too. I think that's your ultimate goal, is to provide peace of mind for people who may not necessarily be in a location 24/7. And then this sometimes is more reliable than, if you know or don't know, oh, this time isn't covered or this day isn't covered, or, how do I know that security is such an important component in everyone's life. So it's just that extra blanket of comfort, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what we like to think. Because our goal is to make the adoption of technology simple, but off of that, kind of our mission is how we can help these organizations just become super efficient and safe, and like you were saying, give them that peace of mind.
What is the teamwork aspect like for you? I know you were saying your dad's part of the mission, you have others part of the mission as well. How does it feel to have that teamwork aspect and to not just be going along this on your own?
Yeah, yeah. So that's nice because I have, yeah, for my father comes from the security industry, so I have him. He's actually one of the main advisors. Other guys like Howard Belfour, few others in the industry that we've been able to at least just even get. It's always good starting up. I would say it's always good to have,
Yeah.
whether it's mentor or just advisor, something similar to at least bad ideas off of, and
Yeah.
point out things that maybe you were missing to then the team I have actually, full time directly working on it too. Just, one of our things is urgency, just always kind of feeling like you need to keep moving fast, not always waiting for permission, not always waiting on someone else. If you do, you'll miss your opportunity. So I think our team has worked really well. We're very strong. We all get along very well. I do try and keep a very comfortable environment at the same time, as there's that demanding aspect of when we're young, trying to grow, that we need to end
Mm,
up, moving very fast. They're moving as fast as we can on
mm.
different projects, and might even be, you need to make sure everyone's ready to, you just need to be honest. Hey, might need to travel here, and then the next week come back and you need to do this, or you need to be very flexible. So I'll say for any of these companies and any startup, just in general, you need to always want to hire people, because I've made a mistake with this, and then I've also had great successes with hiring. But you really want to be sure that you're hiring people who are flexible. Loyalty will always come if you end up treating people right anyway, or they believe in the mission.
Absolutely.
But flexibility, I think, is a big one people forget about, just because a startup, you're gonna have to do something at one point that is not directly under your job title. And a lot of times it's fun. Sometimes it might suck a little
Hmm.
bit for a certain period, but that's kind of just,
Yeah.
I mean, that's any job when you look at it by the end. But that flexibility and just kind of being able to believe in the mission is pretty important as well.
That's great. I love that positive outlook.
Yeah.
Despite all the challenges, there's a positive outlook there. How can people get in touch with LandSky AI if they have any questions or if they have properties that they want to, get information on about security?
Yeah, so I would say my email is jake@landsky period AI. Have that instead of a .com, goes with the name, but
Yeah.
could contact us there. Our website is a good place too. Submission forms that goes to me, marketing director, a few other people, so they'll all see it if anyone just goes on the website and submits a contact form as well.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much, Jake, for your time. I really appreciate it. I'm so excited to see where LandSky AI continues to grow and how you're able to take this exciting new drone technology and help people's lives.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jillian.
If you have topics or suggestions for future episodes, you can email me, angelswings.jillian@gmail.com. That's ANGELSWINGS.JILLIAN @gmail.com. I'll see you later.